Okay, so I wanted to talk about Griff today, relationships. Okay.
Oh, he didn't say anything. I was just
Uh,
thinking, he really is a handsome kid.
Griffin,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful, huh? Beautiful. When I see
Gri-
handsome, go ahead.
I was telling Griffin it's his turn to answer the question.
Oh, sometimes when you see somebody so handsome, do you think God spent a little extra time on you? Like,
Yeah,
look
there's
at that. Yeah,
he signed up for a really specific agreement to be
right,
like
exactly.
looking like that and being like that. Like
Uh-huh.
it comes with something, like you're gonna get attention, whether
Right,
you're asking for it or not.
exactly.
Stop. He's pretending to flip his hair. Oh, thank you. He does not have hair to flip, people.
I
It's
know.
cut short. Um, he says, "Okay, Mom, what about relationships?"
I want to know everything about a relationship. Let's take a man and a woman, just a love relationship. So I'm going to go with a man and a woman. It just could be woman and woman, man and man, whatever, but man and woman, a relationship, a committed relationship that you choose.
He said,
What? Go ahead.
okay, like a monogamous relationship
There
between
you
two
go.
people.
Yeah. A
Because that's
monogamous
what we'll talk
relationship.
about. Okay.
Okay. Is a monogamous relationship a man made concept or is it achievable?
Yep. Yep.
He doesn't look so. I see that look. Yeah.
Yep. It's really funny. Yeah, it's man-made concept.
So is it an impossibility, Griff, or is it torture?
Yeah. No, no, no. It's it's actually doable for some people. But coupling, he goes, I want to use that word.
Okay.
Coupling is natural. He's got his finger out. We couple really well. We find somebody, what, just talking here, he says. But what I've found is we forget to say goodbye to our relationships after they've served us. And we think we need to hold on to them and apply like this loyalty, tough it out, stick it out. So, oh, yeah, to stick with the intimate relationships. So he says, what I find is that when you're together in an intimate relationship and you get each other through whatever point it was, learning trust, learning how to love, I don't know, being with each other until you build a house or a family, and then you've noticed you're splitting apart. He says, I think there's a moment there where we really learn the struggles of communication. I don't think that we walk away. I wouldn't walk away easily. He goes, that's my point. I would look at it before walking away, but I wouldn't see divorce or separation as this big, negative, shameful thing. I don't know why we're shaming people into staying in relationships that don't work for each other, especially when one partner can't show up or participate. And it's nobody else's fucking business what they need from each other. So if you're looking at them at a distance and, he's not doing this or that, or she's to that or whatever, he says that's bullshit. That's totally not your territory.
Mm.
People can be whatever they want for each other as long as they need that. I think monogamy. I think monogamy was created to keep people. He said under control, and I said, "What did you mean by under control?" Um, a few things. One meaning we got to track the lineage of whose was whose, and that meant something, lineage. The second one was not only were we tracking it, we wanted to make sure that people were off the market. Uh, Once somebody was with someone, the you're talking church, aren't you? Oh, Okay, yes, Griffin. He's going way, way back to document people's names within marriages, within churches, to keep
Uh-huh.
lineage and keep people aligned with religion and giving them rules so that they don't wander, so that
Uh-huh.
they stay put. Um, Griffin said offhandedly, he goes, what throws me off is when we go way back, and even today, if we look at people who are extremely religious and high up in their religious system, you'll find that most of them aren't the believers you think they are because they know it's a system and they see it as a job and they're
Mm.
working that system. They're not using
Right.
it as a belief system. He goes, but that's a fucked up conversation for another day.
Uh-huh.
Monogamous was created by outside sources. Coupling is completely natural. He goes, I don't think that group, like polygamy,
Uh-huh.
okay. He doesn't think that polygamy is as natural. He says we're much like birds where we kind of want a one-on-one experience.
Okay.
We're like birds.
Okay, what happens, what what constitutes a good relationship? What do you go back to when a relationship is lost if you want to save a relationship?
I'm not saying that.
Sex.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. How'd you know? Okay, that's not his real answer though, but that's what he said.
Right.
He goes, okay, seriously talking, if the relationship is off track and you're going to be strong enough to get in there and really assess it, I would start looking at what do you need and what do they need and get real about it. Not about what does the relationship need.
Uh-huh.
Like, I need you to be a better wife, whatever the hell that means. Or I
Right.
need you to be a better spouse or husband. Oh, what does that mean? You define it yourself. That's the messed up thing. He
Right.
goes, I don't understand why people can't just be married. And then let's say if they're really good together and they're really good friends and they really don't want to separate, but they're not digging each other sexually. And they looked at each other, he's doing the hand puppets, it's not just me. Then they look at each other and he's like, hey, I want to be with other people. And she's like, yes, I'd like to be with other people too, but let's stay married. Okay, that's a great idea. Yay. They stay together, but they have other sexual partners, but they stay
Right.
together because they're honest and they talk to each other about it.
Right.
You adjust each other's needs, not the need of the relationship.
Okay.
I think when things go wrong, we often are putting the relationship needs above what we individually need. So you're
Right.
looking at the unity before you're looking at yourself, and that's going to go really wrong fast.
Okay.
Doesn't it's really wrong, really fast.
Okay. Um, I have a tendency, I'll just bring myself in this and we can talk about it. I have a tendency when a relationship is in question or breaking down or I get hurt, I'll give a verbal tongue lashing to the other person if I'm hurt instead of acknowledging that I'm hurt. And I don't know why I do that and where does that come from and how do you stop that? And why do I do that? I'm hurt. When I look at it after a few days, I'm ashamed of what I say and it's not what I meant. I'll just go for the jugular. Like if somebody hurts me,
He goes, fight or flight.
okay.
You don't run away, you just turn around and you blow up, which gives you physical space. It gives you emotional space because nobody's really going to come at you that way. And if they do, then it gives you a better excuse to yell even more.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so I think you do it because it's what you're taught. We weren't really taught to pause and just say, I'm hurt and I'm falling apart and I'm sad and I'm grieving.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, can you imagine if we were raised that way? He's laughing.
It'd be so different.
He said, we'd get right to the point like in 5 minutes.
I know.
10 minutes later, we'd be having coffee and everything is fine. It's like strange.
Right?
He says it's
Right?
strange.
No, I create quite a wake behind me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he says a way of changing it, he says you got to catch yourself in the moment. You know, when you're yelling and you're pointing externally
Uh-huh.
at anything, at how somebody looked at you or about how the wind blew wrong or about how that car did whatever, It's when you look external, you're looking in the wrong direction.
Always, Griff?
Always. Always. Look internal. Even when you believe 100% the fault is the other person, you reacted. That's yours. That's your shit. Look
Mm-hmm.
at you first. Even if you can't see what it is and all you want to do is highlight how the other person faulted,
Mm-hmm.
you have to stop yourself. And he says it's really eye-opening. It feels really gross and ugly sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to hold yourself accountable. If you can't do it, you got to get somebody else to do it. So if you're in a relationship, friendship, whatever, you look at them and say, listen, when I verbally explode and I go at you or at somebody else, the word that you can say to me are eyes in the wrong direction. And don't say anything else to me, because if you say more than that, I will cut a bitch.
Yeah, I'll level the village for sure.
Your eyes, you just say the eyes are in the wrong direction. That's it. Because then they give you a moment to hear it and go, and then I fucking hate that I just did that and I'm supposed to look at this and I don't want to fucking look at this because I don't know how and I don't know what it is and it's still hell and fury. So then you say, okay, I can't figure it out. You got to give me 24 hours to figure it out and then we're going to come back to this.
Okay. Eyes in the wrong direction. I love that.
I do too. I've never heard
Yeah,
that.
right. It's weird too because Griff, whenever I've met any of my spirit guides, their job for me was to learn how to communicate without running people over, basically.
They know you so well.
How
Oh,
embarrassing. But they're very angry because it doesn't seem to be working. Uh,
Griffin says you have been busy looking at your surrounding.
yeah. And then when you wake up, you're like, what did I cause? What year is it? Like, you can't believe what you've said. You know what I mean? And the damage. I mean, what did you really think? The person would just straighten up and fly right? You know what I'm saying?
Griffin says what I've started to notice, and he says, and I really couldn't see this when I was alive,
Right.
is that when people don't want to look at themselves or don't know how, they overly engage in whatever chaos they can find, small or big. They'll just look for the next wrong step, what they consider to be a wrong step, highlight it, share it, blow it up, and make some chaos. Because if something else is happening, then you don't have to be raw and honest about it. He said,
Mm-hmm.
so this goes for anybody who's watching. You know, if you're addicted to chaos and you like to be in the heat of it and you like to blow it up and point it out, you turn the fingers inward. He said, most likely 99.9% you're not looking at yourself.
I wonder how you know when a relationship is over. Does it always have to go ugly before it's over, or no? Mm-mm.
He's shaking his head, no, I don't think so. It goes ugly because we ignore it and we ignore the fact that we don't like the relationship anymore and that we don't like the person anymore and that we need something different, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be wrong by getting a divorce because divorce is a bad thing and it's shameful.
Right.
Such bullshit.
Right. Well, it's like Kent was saying, who's in the lobby, was your uncle, was saying, was saying, uh, we live so much longer than we used to.
That's
Like
true.
in the beginning when the marriage concept was developed. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, I got to wake up to that again, that lady.
Another year and another year. And then you're 70 years into it.
Is it too broad of a brush to, I know, is it too broad of a brush to paint with that women do relationships easier than men, or that's too broad of a brush? Because men aren't naturally geared for one woman.
I would agree with you 10 years ago. He goes, now in age, I'm gonna decide to disagree.
Okay.
Guys are waking up and they're having more feelings and they're talking about their needs.
Okay.
It's kind of still new, but it's kind of balancing out the scales, probably about 40% of men now will actually speak up and say, that's not what I meant, that's not what I feel, this is what I need, and want to work on things, whereas before they'd be quicker to leave.
Right. Right.